Beneath these towering peaks and vast deserts, a civilization rose that would leave an indelible mark on history. This is the story of the Persian Empire, a saga of ambition, innovation, and conquest. From the visionary leadership of Cyrus the Great, who laid the empire's foundation, to the golden era under Darius I, where innovation and administration flourished. From the dramatic battles of Xerxes against Greece to the fiery fall of Persepolis under Alexander the Great. From the resurgence of Persian power in the Sassanian Dynasty to its final days with the Muslim Conquest. This is a chronicle of a civilization's rise, resilience, and transformation. In the heart of a land as vast as it was ancient, a kingdom emerged from obscurity, destined to shape the future of civilizations. This is the story of the Achaemenid Empire, a saga of ambition, revolution, and conquest. Our journey begins in Anshan, a vassal state under the Median Empire. It is here that a ruler named Cyrus, later known as Cyrus the Great, was born around 600 BCE. Raised amidst tales of heroism and subjugation, young Cyrus dreamt not of servitude but of sovereignty. The Median Empire, led by King Astyages, held sway over Persia. But within his court, whispers of rebellion were growing. The Persians, a proud and resilient people, yearned for independence. In 553 BCE, Cyrus began to challenge Median authority. Gathering Persian tribes under his banner, he waged a campaign against his grandfather Astyages. According to Herodotus, the betrayal of Astyages' general Harpagus marked a turning point. Harpagus defected to Cyrus, delivering a decisive blow to the Median forces. By 550 BCE, the Medes were defeated, and Cyrus declared himself ruler of a new, unified Persian kingdom. But this was only the beginning. Cyrus understood that to secure his kingdom, he had to expand it. His next target was the wealthy kingdom of Lydia in Asia Minor, ruled by King Croesus, a man renowned for his riches. In 547 BCE, Cyrus defeated Croesus at the Battle of Thymbra, employing innovative tactics like using camels to unnerve Lydian horses. The capture of Sardis, Lydia's capital, added immense wealth to Cyrus's growing empire. By 539 BCE, Cyrus turned his gaze to Babylon, the jewel of Mesopotamia. Using a clever strategy, his forces diverted the Euphrates River, entering the city through its dry riverbed. Babylon fell without significant resistance, and Cyrus was hailed not as a conqueror, but as a liberator. Cyrus's rule was not merely about conquest. He is remembered for his policies of tolerance and governance. The Cyrus Cylinder, often called the First Charter of Human Rights, proclaims his respect for the customs and religions of those he ruled. Under Cyrus, the Achaemenid Empire stretched from the Indus River in the east to the Aegean Sea in the west, uniting diverse cultures under a single administration. Though Cyrus met his end in 530 BCE, his legacy endured. The Achaemenid Empire became a model of governance, inspiring leaders from Alexander the Great to the framers of modern constitutions. The rise of the Achaemenids was not merely the ascent of a kingdom, but the birth of an idea that unity, tolerance, and ambition could shape the destiny of humanity. The echoes of Cyrus's empire remind us that history is not just a tale of the past, but a lesson for the future. Amidst the echoes of history, one name stands as a beacon of innovation, ambition, and empire: Darius the Great. His reign marked the zenith of the Achaemenid Empire, where grandeur met governance in an era historians call the Golden Age. The year is 522 BCE. The empire is in turmoil. A pretender, known as Gaumeta, claims the throne, impersonating Bardiya, Cambyses' brother. Amidst this political chaos, Darius, a distant relative of Cyrus the Great, rises to the occasion. Darius and his allies overthrow Gaumata in a daring coup. By the end of 522 BCE, Darius secures his claim to the throne, but his rule is immediately challenged by rebellions across the empire. Montage of battles in Babylon. With relentless campaigns, Darius quells uprisings, solidifying his control over the fractured empire. His victory inscription at Behistun immortalizes these events, showcasing his determination and legitimacy. Darius understood that ruling a vast empire required more than military might. He reorganized the empire into 20 satrapies, or provinces, each overseen by a satrap. This system ensured efficient governance while maintaining local autonomy. To facilitate communication across the empire, Darius introduced the Royal Road, a 2,700-kilometer network connecting Susa to Sardis. Relay stations and couriers ensured messages traversed the empire in mere days. Darius also standardized the currency, introducing the gold daric and silver siglos. This innovation boosted trade and unified the economy, earning Persia a reputation as a hub of prosperity. Darius' vision extended beyond governance to architecture. Persepolis, the ceremonial capital of the Achaemenid Empire, rose as a testament to his grandeur. Built with labor from across the empire, Persepolis symbolized unity in diversity. Its grand halls hosted delegates from distant lands, bearing tribute to the great king. Under Darius, the empire expanded to its greatest extent. His campaigns reached the Indus Valley in the east and Thrace in the west, bringing diverse cultures under Persian rule. However, Darius faced challenges. The Ionian Revolt marked the beginning of conflict with the Greek city-states. In 490 BCE, his forces launched a punitive expedition against Athens but faced defeat at the Battle of Marathon. Though the Greek campaigns were a setback, they did little to diminish Darius's legacy as a builder and administrator. Darius's reign ended in 486 BCE, but his legacy endures. His tomb, inscribed with words of humility and strength, reflects his vision for a just and united empire. From the administrative systems he established to the architectural marvels he commissioned, Darius's influence shaped the Achaemenid Empire and left an indelible mark on history. Darius the Great, a ruler who transformed ambition into empire and vision into legacy. His golden era reminds us that true greatness is not just in conquest, but in creating a foundation for generations to come. In the annals of history, few events resonate as deeply as the clash of East and West during the Greco-Persian Wars. At the heart of this saga stands Xerxes I, a king driven by ambition, revenge, and the unrelenting tide of destiny. In 486 BCE, the throne of the world's largest empire passed to Xerxes I, the son of Darius the Great. The young king inherited not only a vast domain, but also the simmering conflict with the Greek city-states. While Darius had sought to punish Athens for their support of the Ionian Revolt, Xerxes' ambition was grander: the complete subjugation of Greece. Xerxes spent years preparing for his campaign. Bridges were constructed across the Hellespont, a feat of engineering that connected Asia to Europe. Canals were dug through Mount Athos to secure his fleet's passage. Herodotus claimed that Xerxes amassed an army so vast that it drank rivers dry. Modern historians estimate it to have been hundreds of thousands strong, an unprecedented force for its time. In 480 BCE, Xerxes launched his invasion, crossing the Hellespont with his massive army and fleet. Greece, a collection of fiercely independent city-states, now faced a common enemy. At Thermopylae, King Leonidas of Sparta and his 300 warriors, alongside thousands of allied Greeks, made a legendary last stand against Xerxes' forces. Though the Greeks were ultimately overwhelmed, their sacrifice galvanized the Hellenic world. While Xerxes celebrated his victory, the Greeks prepared for their next stand. Despite the fall of Thermopylae, the Greek navy, led by Themistocles, lured Xerxes' fleet into the Straits of Salamis. The confined space nullified the Persian numerical advantage, and Greek ships, more maneuverable, wreaked havoc on Xerxes' armada. The defeat at Salamis marked a turning point, forcing Xerxes to retreat to Asia, leaving his general Mardonius to continue the war. The following year, Persian forces suffered a decisive defeat at Plataea, where a united Greek army vanquished Mardonius. This victory, coupled with a naval triumph at Mycale, ended Xerxes' ambitions in Greece. For Xerxes, the Greek campaign was a costly endeavor. Though his empire remained vast, the defeats marked the beginning of its gradual decline. After the Greek campaign, Xerxes focused on monumental construction projects, including completing the magnificent Apollina at Persepolis. However, his later reign was marred by court intrigue and revolts. In 465 BCE, Xerxes was assassinated in a palace coup, a grim end for a king who once sought to conquer the world. Xerxes remains a polarizing figure, a ruler of unparalleled ambition and a commander whose legacy is intertwined with both glory and failure. The Greco-Persian Wars, shaped by Xerxes' vision, forever altered the course of Western and Eastern civilizations, echoing through history as a testament to the complexities of power and ambition. Xerxes, a name etched in the annals of time, a king whose dreams of empire collided with the unyielding spirit of freedom. Empires rise and fall, their legacies etched in stone and memory. The Achaemenid Empire, once the largest the world had ever known, entered its twilight in the 4th century BCE. This is the story of its decline, a tale of ambition, betrayal, and conquest. By the time of Artaxerxes II's reign, 404 to 358 BCE, cracks had begun to show in the once mighty Achaemenid Empire. Internal strife and rebellion plagued his rule, with satraps vying for autonomy and provinces revolting against central authority. One of the greatest threats came from within. Artaxerxes' own brother, Cyrus the Younger, led an army of mercenaries against him in 401 BCE. Though Cyrus was defeated at the Battle of Cunaxa, the rebellion revealed the fragility of Persian unity. While Persia struggled with internal divisions, a new power was rising in the west. Philip II of Macedon laid the groundwork for a military machine that his son, Alexander, would wield to devastating effect. Philip's assassination in 336 BCE left the throne to his 20-year-old son, Alexander the Great. Few could have foreseen that this young king would soon challenge the greatest empire of his time. Darius III inherited a troubled empire. His reign began amidst the threat of Alexander's invasion. In 334 BCE, Alexander crossed the Hellespont with a small but highly disciplined army, marking the beginning of Persia's end. At Granicus, Issus, and finally Gaugamela, Alexander's tactical genius outmaneuvered Darius's larger armies. Each defeat chipped away at Persian morale and control. In 330 BCE, Alexander marched into Persepolis, the ceremonial heart of the Achaemenid Empire. After looting its treasures, he ordered the city burned, a symbolic act of vengeance for the Persian invasion of Greece a century earlier. The fall of Persepolis marked the definitive end of Persian supremacy. With Darius III assassinated by his own men, the Achaemenid dynasty came to an unceremonious close. Though the Achaemenid Empire fell, its legacy endured. Its administrative systems, architectural achievements, and cultural exchanges influenced subsequent empires, from the Seleucids to Rome. Even Alexander recognized the grandeur of the Persian legacy, incorporating its practices into his own administration. The fall of the Achaemenids was not just the end of a dynasty but the beginning of a new era of cultural synthesis. Empires rise and fall, but their stories shape the course of history. The Achaemenid Empire, once a beacon of power and progress, reminds us of the fragile nature of greatness. Out of the ashes of the Parthian Empire rose a dynasty that would redefine Persia's glory and stand as a beacon of power and culture for over 4 centuries. This is the story of the rise of the Sassanian Empire. By the early 3rd century CE, the Parthian Empire, which had ruled Persia for nearly 5 centuries, was in decline. Its decentralized structure and frequent infighting left it vulnerable to external threats and internal rebellions. Among the discontented was a local ruler named Ardashir-I, governor of Persis, who harbored grand ambitions to restore Persian supremacy. Ardashir, a descendant of Sazan, from whom the empire derives its name, began consolidating power in his province. Through strategic alliances and military campaigns, he expanded his control, challenging the authority of the Parthian king, Artabanus IV. The two forces met at Hormozgan, where Ardashir's disciplined army decisively defeated Artabanus, ending the Parthian dynasty. In its place, the Sassanian Empire was born. Ardashir-I crowned himself Shahanshah, or King of Kings, a title that underscored his ambition to unify and strengthen Persia. Unlike the decentralized Parthian rule, Ardashir established a highly centralized state, with a focus on Zoroastrianism as the empire's unifying religion. Zoroastrianism became both a spiritual and political cornerstone, legitimizing the monarchy and fostering cultural cohesion. Ardashir's son, Shapur-I, continued his father's legacy, transforming the Sassanian Empire into a superpower. Shapur's reign was marked by military triumphs and cultural achievements. Shapur famously defeated the Roman Emperor Valerian at Edessa, capturing him along with thousands of Roman soldiers. A humiliation for Rome and a testament to Persia's strength. Shapur's victories solidified the empire's borders and ushered in a period of prosperity. The Sassanian Empire wasn't just a military power. It was a cultural and economic powerhouse. Its cities, like Ctesiphon, became centers of learning, art, and commerce. The empire's strategic location facilitated trade along the Silk Road, connecting the East and West. This exchange of goods and ideas enriched Persian society and left a lasting legacy. As the empire grew, so did its challenges. Nomadic invasions, religious dissent, and power struggles tested the resilience of Sassanian rulers. Yet, the empire's adaptability and strong leadership allowed it to endure, setting the stage for future leaders like Khosrow I and II to restore its glory. The Sassanian Empire's rise was more than just a political transformation. It redefined Persian identity. Its influence extended far beyond its borders, shaping Islamic, Byzantine, and even Western medieval cultures. From architecture to administration, the Sassanian legacy endured long after the empire's fall in the 7th century CE. The Sassanian Empire, a beacon of power, culture, and resilience. Its story reminds us that even in the face of great adversity, civilizations can leave indelible marks on history. The year is 636 CE, and the once mighty Sassanian Empire stands on the brink of collapse. The land of Persia, rich with culture and power, is about to be swept into the pages of history, forever changed by a force that is sweeping across the Middle East, Islam. The story of the Muslim conquest of Persia is not just one of battles and bloodshed, but of a civilization on the verge of a new dawn. A story of faith, destiny, and the clash of empires. The Sassanian Empire, a force to be reckoned with, had ruled Persia for over 4 centuries. Under King Khosrow II, Persia reached the pinnacle of its power, stretching from the Mediterranean to India. But internal strife, corruption, and a series of failed wars had left the empire weakened, ripe for invasion. Meanwhile, to the southwest, a new force was emerging. In the deserts of Arabia, a prophet named Muhammad had united the fractured tribes of the Arabian Peninsula under the banner of Islam. What began as a small movement would soon become an unstoppable force. In 633 CE, the death of the Prophet Muhammad left a power vacuum. The first caliph, Abu Bakr, had to secure the nascent Islamic state. Yet, even as the Arabian tribes united under Islam, the world beyond awaited. The Persian Empire was weak. Its armies had fought and lost in wars with the Byzantine Empire, leaving them vulnerable. This was the perfect moment for the Muslims to strike. The campaign would not be easy, but it would be swift. The first confrontation between the Muslims and the Persians came in 633 CE at the Battle of the Bridge. The Persian general, Rustam, led a powerful army against the Muslim forces. Though initially overwhelmed, the Muslim army, under the leadership of Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, managed to hold its ground. The battle ended in a tactical retreat, but it set the stage for what was to come. The defeat at the Battle of the Bridge, far from crushing the Muslim resolve, only fueled their determination. In 636 CE, the Muslims, now united under Caliph Umar ibn al-Khattab, set their sights on the heart of Persia. The decisive battle that would change the course of history was about to unfold at Yarmouk. At the Battle of Yarmouk, the Muslim forces, numbering less than 40,000, faced a much larger Sassanian army. The Persian forces, led by the legendary general Rustam, were confident in their victory. But the Muslims under Khalid ibn al-Walid had the advantage of speed, strategy, and divine conviction. 4 days, the two armies clashed. Rustam's forces fought valiantly, but the Muslims were relentless. By the end of the battle, the Persian army had been decimated. The Islamic forces, despite their smaller numbers, emerged victorious. The fall of Ctesiphon in 637 CE marked the collapse of the Sassanian Empire's power and the beginning of Islamic dominance in Persia. Here's a detailed account of the events that led to its fall. Ctesiphon, the capital of the Sassanian Empire, was located near modern-day Baghdad, Iraq, on the banks of the Tigris River. It was one of the largest and most prosperous cities of the ancient world, known for its monumental palaces, grand buildings, and thriving trade. The city had been the heart of Sassanian political, cultural, and military power for centuries. However, by the 7th century, the Sassanian Empire was weakened by internal strife, poor leadership, and devastating wars with the Byzantine Empire. The Sassanian military was no longer as formidable as it had once been, and the empire was facing economic and political decline. The rise of Islam in the Arabian Peninsula under Prophet Muhammad had already led to the unification of the Arab tribes. After Muhammad's death in 632 CE, the Islamic Caliphate under the leadership of Caliph Abu Bakr began to expand aggressively. By 633 CE, Muslim forces were beginning to cross into Persia, confronting the weakened Sassanian armies. The Muslim armies were led by prominent generals such as Khalid ibn al-Walid and Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. They faced the Persian army in a series of battles, most notably the Battle of Qadisiyah, 636 CE, where the Muslim forces decisively defeated the Persians. This victory opened the door to the capture of the Sassanian capital, Ctesiphon. After the defeat at Qadisiyah, the Sassanian forces, led by Rustam Farrukhzad, attempted to regroup, but their morale was shattered. Yazdijerd III, the last Sassanian king, retreated eastward to escape the Muslim advance. The Persian Empire had lost its grip on the western territories, and the Muslims turned their attention to Ctesiphon. In 637 CE, the Muslim army, now commanded by Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, laid siege to Ctesiphon. The city was heavily fortified, with towering walls and a large defensive garrison. However, the Muslim forces, motivated by their faith and the strength of their army, began encircling the city. The siege lasted several months, but the Sassanian defenders were ill-prepared and demoralized. The Persian forces within the city attempted to break the siege, but they were no match for the highly disciplined and organized Muslim forces. The siege tactics employed by the Muslims, including cutting off supply lines and launching continuous attacks on the city walls, eventually wore down the defenders. The collapse of the Sassanian army at Qadisiyah had already made it clear that their military power was not what it once was, and Ctesiphon's fall seemed inevitable. Around May or June of 637 CE, after intense pressure, the city of Ctesiphon was captured by the Muslim forces. The gates were breached, and the city was taken with little resistance. The fall of Ctesiphon was a crushing blow to the Sassanian Empire. The city, once a thriving hub of power, was plundered. The Muslims captured vast treasures, including gold, silver, and the famous White Palace, or Tak Kasra, which was a symbol of Sassanian grandeur. The palace, a masterpiece of Persian architecture, was left in ruins after the siege. With Ctesiphon's fall, the Sassanian Empire effectively ceased to exist as a dominant power. Yazdijerd III, the last Sassanian king, fled further east into the province of Merv in modern-day Turkmenistan, where he was eventually assassinated by a Persian servant in 651 CE. This event marked the official end of the Sassanian Empire. The capture of Ctesiphon by the Muslims marked a pivotal moment in history. It opened the door for the Muslims to consolidate their control over Mesopotamia and Persia, laying the foundation for the eventual spread of Islam throughout the region. The city would never fully recover from the conquest, and its grandeur would fade into history. The fall of Ctesiphon symbolizes the dramatic shift from Sassanian Persia to the early Islamic Caliphate, and set the stage for the cultural and political transformation that would shape the Middle East for centuries to come. While the Sassanian Empire fell, the legacy of Persia lived on in the region. The knowledge, culture, and institutions of the Persian Empire were incorporated into the growing Islamic civilization, especially during the Abbasid Caliphate, which established its capital at Baghdad, close to the ruins of Ctesiphon. The Persians would continue to play a significant role in the Islamic world, especially in the fields of literature, science, and philosophy. The fall of Ctesiphon was not just the end of a city or an empire, but the closing of a chapter in world history, leading to the birth of a new order under the Islamic Caliphate. In 651 CE, Yazdijerd III was assassinated by a Persian servant in a final futile attempt to hold on to power. His death marked the official end of the Sassanian Empire. Persia, once a proud empire, was now part of the rapidly expanding Islamic Caliphate. But the conquest was not just a story of destruction. It was the birth of a new era. Under Muslim rule, Persia would experience profound cultural and scientific growth. The Zoroastrian faith, once the heart of Persia, would slowly fade, while Islam became the dominant religion, weaving its influence into every aspect of Persian life. The conquest was not only military. It was a cultural transformation. Persian scholars and thinkers would go on to shape the future of the Islamic Golden Age, bridging the ancient world with the modern one. Persian architecture, literature, and science would thrive under the new caliphate. The Muslim conquest of Persia was more than just the end of an empire. It was the beginning of a new world, one that would forever alter the course of history. The Sassanian legacy, though eclipsed by the rise of Islam, would endure in the hearts of the Persian people, shaping their identity for centuries to come. From the battlefields of Yarmouk to the fall of Ctesiphon, from the reign of Khosrow II to the rise of the Caliphate, the story of Persia's conquest is a tale of transformation, resilience, and the unyielding power of faith. And so we come to the end of a journey through time, through the rise and fall of empires, the clash of mighty forces, and the indelible marks left on history by those who dared to conquer. From the birth of the Achaemenid Empire in 550 BCE, where a young Cyrus the Great forged a realm that stretched from the heart of Persia to the edges of the known world, we witnessed the rise of an empire that would change the course of civilization. Under Darius I, the Persian Empire flourished, reaching its zenith. It was an era of innovation and grand design, where roads, systems, and cultures were united under one banner. But, as with all empires, time and fate would have their say. Xerxes, son of Darius, led the empire into the heart of the Greco-Persian Wars, a battle for survival against the Greeks. The fires of war would scorch both sides, but it was the relentless spirit of Persia that would burn brightest in history. Yet, even the might of Xerxes could not hold back the tides of change forever. By the 4th century BCE, the once mighty Achaemenid Empire had fallen, overwhelmed by internal strife and external invasion. Persia's glory was dimmed, but the flame was not extinguished. It would rise again. In 224 CE, the Sassanian Empire rose from the ashes, forging a new Persian identity. For centuries, it would challenge the greatest empires of the day, keeping the legacy of the Achaemenids alive and advancing the civilization to heights never before seen. But the winds of change were unstoppable. The arrival of Islam in the 7th century brought the final chapter of the Persian Empire's story to an end. The Muslim conquest swept across the land, shifting the course of history once again. Persia, now part of a new sprawling empire, would continue to influence the world in ways unimaginable. From the glory of Cyrus to the triumphs of Darius and Xerxes, from the rebirth under the Sassanians to the profound transformation brought by the Muslim conquest, the story of Persia is one of resilience, vision, and unyielding strength. Empires rise, and empires fall. But the legacy of Persia, in its many forms, lives on, woven into the fabric of our world today.